Hi guys!
Welcome back.
I hope you guys have been great since our trailer episode. We're so excited to be here with you guys today.
For all of our new listeners, my name is Jazmine.
And my name is Marilyn.
And this is our Wish You Love
podcast.
All right,
well, before we get into it, we should probably tell them to follow our socials. Our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all Wish You Love Pod. And if you guys want to join the conversation or have your own story or need advice, in those bios there will be a link to a Google form where you guys can anonymously put your story in or what you need advice on and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, we did release like an intro just so you can get to know us a little bit more and about this podcast. So feel free to check that out if you haven't already. If you already did and you're continuing to support us and be a part of this, well, we're super excited to finally dive into what this podcast is all about.
Yes, so I guess I'll start. And we're always gonna have like kind of questions for the universe, like questions about life and stuff. So this is a great opportunity for you to journal as well. If you guys want to answer this question in your guys' own journal or want to comment what your input would be on like an Instagram post, we'll definitely listen, read it, and respond back as well. So for today's question, as you can probably see by the title, who has been a teacher in your life? What gifts have they passed on to you? And we'll begin with Jazmine today.
Yeah. So when I heard this question, when I started meditating on this question, I thought, first of all, how blessed I am that I've gotten the opportunity to have many teachers in my life that have taught me multiple things. Shout out to my mom. She's one of my biggest teachers.
Love that.
But for this episode specifically, I thought about my personal life and what's currently happening. And so the first person that I thought who is a teacher in my life right now, present day, is a manager at my current job, and her name is Shane. And so I guess I'll start off by how I met Shane. So I work in corporate, fairly new, started working in the business world and whatnot. And so for any of you listening who have just started working in corporate, it's kind of hard, right? We're new, we're fresh, we don't know what to expect. We're really eager and hungry to like grow and learn. And so when I met Shane, I remember they had mentioned to me that I was going to get a new manager, that I was going to meet her. And I remember waiting in this conference room just thinking, am I going to get along with her? Are we going to be the same? Are we going to be different? How is she going to manage? I end up meeting her. She comes into the conference room with the biggest smile on her face. And just, again, if you guys hear me talk about energy, it's because that's like one of my favorite things and something I'm really like passionate about with people. And she just brought one of the best energy I've ever felt. It was not intimidating. It was nothing of, I just felt so comfortable. And so I meet her, I introduced myself, she introduced herself to me, and we just kicked it off. It was really awesome. Little by little, I started to, as I got to get to know her, I saw things that I admired from her.
Love that.
Shane is super smart. Shane is ambitious. Shane is a boss queen.
Literally.
And I knew immediately, like, I want to be like her. Like, I need to learn from her. And so I guess I'll start off by saying 3 things that I've learned from Shane and how I play them and use them in my life right now, not just in corporate, but also in the real world. And so number 1, Shane has taught me to document and data are so important, and I never realized the importance of that until she broke it down to me how important it is to keep your receipts.
Yeah.
Have your receipts. They, document, have data, make sure that you keep that all organized and near you, because when you're ready to raise your hand or present something, or even just keep track to see your progress, like that all comes into play. And ever since then, I just have my notes of things that I do and just have all of that handy.
That's really good advice.
Yeah. And then I would say the second thing Shane has taught me is always network and put yourself out there. And that is so important, because you just never know who you're going to meet or what that person's role is going to be in your life.
Yes.
And, currently in my job, even though I work in the HR department, I still mingle and network with almost any other department on site.
That's so good that you do that.
Yeah.
Like, to have connections.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Sometimes I will literally go hang out with like production or IT.
That's good.
I don't know, just go visit and hang out with them. And
I feel like you guys can learn from each other too. Like,
yeah.
What if you need help with something? I know you asked one of your coworkers for advice on a podcast, right? So it's like you have people who are already doing it and you can ask for advice, and it's good. Like, you guys are in totally different fields, yet you guys are all like, coming together to help each other out. So.
Yeah, creating those relationships, right? I know we even mentioned once, like, oh wow, like that's like you and I, right? Like,
right. Oh yeah, just like the wedding, right? We met at a wedding, and if we didn't have a good relationship with our friend that got married, we wouldn't have met, because you never know where life will take you based on the people that are in your life. Because I met her when I was like 16 years old.
Wow.
I was really young. We were in cheer together, and I was very happy that she invited me to her wedding, because I'm a high school friend, and you're her college friend. We went to the same college, by the way, but kind of different times. So
yeah.
When you finish, I was starting, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but
I love that.
Yeah,
it's
that's
so true.
It's a perfect example, right?
Yeah. All parts of life. That's good advice.
Yeah. And then lastly, I think the last advice that I want to share with you guys that she's taught me and that I continue to keep is never stop learning. Like, there's never an age or an end point to learning. When I tell you guys, she is a boss. She was getting her master's,
period,
working full-time.
That's crazy.
And she's a manager.
That's crazy.
So can you imagine?
That's buck wild.
And you know what? She was doing it. She was doing it, and she was awesome. And she just, was encouraging me and has encouraged me to just continue to learn. If I don't know, if IT comes to me tomorrow and says, hey, we need you for 2 weeks to pick something up or, learn something from us, she would be the first person to tell me, yes, do it.
Do it.
It has nothing to do with what you do right now, but do it and learn it.
You never know. And it's something for me, I'm always like, another line on the CV or the resume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so ever since then, I'll actually be going back to school in August.
Woo! So
I'm excited to get into a certificate program. But that's honestly one of the reasons was because of her too. She encouraged me to just, like I said, just never stop learning. And like she's about to she just graduated actually college, and she's already thinking about the next learning journey.
Yes.
So I love that. So Shane, if you're watching this, you are such a huge blessing in my life, and thank you for being a teacher and teaching me all these things.
And you're doing the thing for sure.
Yeah.
Like the whole full time with masters, that's nuts.
I know.
To me. Good for you, girl.
Yeah.
Love that for you. It's always good to have a mentor in your life and all stages of your life, because I think you told me once that you're going to have different people in your life that influence you based on where you are. I'm sure when you become a mother, you'll have a different person that you go to for advice and that has been through it. So this is your career your career mentor, and I love it.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think, I know Marilyn and I had discussed this before about we're both in different chapters right now in our lives.
Right.
But yet we're still have like that teaching experience through our own teachers and like mentors.
Exactly.
So we hope that you guys can relate to both or either one of us, and just try to really meditate to see who's your teacher right now in your life and how they are influencing you to be better and to learn.
And maybe tell them thanks. Thank you.
Yes.
Send them your little thing if you type it up. I'm gonna send this to my mentor. Maybe
I'm
she'll
sending it to
listen.
mine too.
Yeah.
Gratitude is important, friends.
Yes, it is for sure. And reflecting on your life, and that brings gratitude because you're like, wow, like I'm blessed. I have a lot of good things going on for me, even though maybe sometimes it may not seem like it. It's like it's hard.
Yeah.
Well, for my mentor, the woman that I consider my life teacher, we will call her Soul for privacy reasons. She's actually my boyfriend's mom, and I always refer to her as a mentor because I do go to her for like guidance, and she essentially just straight up mentors me. She has passed down so many gifts to me, so I hope to do her justice in this episode. A little background on her is that she is a woman of God, so a lot of her advice does reflect on how the Bible says we should live. She as well is Hispanic, a Hispanic woman, such as myself, who grew up with extremely strict parents with high expectations, such as myself. So we do have a lot in common in that aspect of our backgrounds. She is well educated, and she got her bachelor's and master's from the same university that Jazmine and I got our bachelor's from, and that I'm currently about to get my master's at. So we do relate a lot. I know. I'm so scared for this last semester, but let's not talk about that because I don't want to cry. And in addition to all of that, she is working in the field of higher education, and that is currently my career end goal. So as you can see, she is like me presently, but also what I hope to be in the future. So let's just say that we have a lot in common.
Soul is like a version of you.
Yeah, she kind of is, which is funny because her nieces sometimes will mention like, are you Soul? Because how I'm like dressed or like the things I say. And yeah, I do see myself slowly becoming kind of a little weird at my boyfriend's mom.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm not complaining. But yeah, so she has helped me slowly become the best version of myself. So I'm going to list out 3 things she has personally taught me, either through actions, guidance, or simply words of wisdom that she speaks over me. Number 1, boundaries are essential no matter who the person is. This was a big lesson for me personally to learn. And as I grow older, I get more of a hang on setting boundaries and protecting my peace. But it was really hard at first, surprisingly. But I mean, it sounds so simple, but now I'm getting the hang of it. When it comes to my family, personally, it does not matter what the person does to you, says to you, how they treat you. We are taught to let them treat you badly because at the end of the day, that's your blood and that's your family. Those who stand up for themselves and put a stop to the abuse are shamed, and it is spread around that that person is dramatic, or they try to gaslight to dim a situation that should not be dimmed. What I have learned is that no one should treat you badly, no matter who it is, and when they do, especially when it's time and time again, you take that step back. Why have that in your life? I want a life where people treat me with love, kindness, where they add to my life and not take away. Ever since I have done this, I have it all written out. I'm a writer, you guys. My master's is in English. So I like writing things out. It really does help me. That's why I mentioned the journaling thing. But it does really make people mad when I do this. But quite frankly, I don't really care because I realized I love myself way too much to ever let somebody treat me like that.
I love that.
Yeah, So that was the first piece of advice that I learned from her.
That's awesome advice, especially as we continue, again, to get older.
Boundaries are always going to be part of life,
Yes.
whether it be like with a teacher, like at school, or at work, or with your children, with your parents, with your friends, like
With family.
Yeah. Everybody. You need boundaries. Yeah. So the second piece of advice that I have learned from Soul has been to handle every situation with grace, which is as well difficult, but I'm learning. There will be a time in everyone's life where a difficult situation will come about, whether it is dealing with a toxic family member, like stated before, or even leaving a job. And through it all, she has taught me to handle every situation with grace. When leaving that employer, you always leave on good terms, because you never know down the road where that person will be in your life. That piece of advice was given to me when I was 21 years old. And wow, now that I'm 25, I have seen that come into fruition like in my life. And I'm like, wow, thank God I listened to her and I ended things on a good note, because now I'm working with those people again at a different university. And so it's like, it's so important to leave on good terms, especially because you want people to know you for who you are, which is hopefully a kind person, and never like in the moment mad person, because whenever we're mad, that is like obviously you, but it's not like you when you're like calm and really centered. Like that's like a really,
it's your emotions.
It's your emotions speaking.
They're the ones, yeah.
So it's important to like leave on good terms, especially with work. Of course, sometimes life does not work out like that, but at least for me, I followed her advice and it helped. I also learned that to always turn the cheek, and that there's no reason to lower yourself on that person's level. Side note, I was listening to a Joel Osteen podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts. And the episode was called Dealing with Difficult People. And I highly recommend you listening to that one, because I was literally like clapping my hands. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like everything he was saying was speaking to me. I was like, it was such a good episode. But in that episode, I was talking about how the Bible calls believers eagles, and how we know that eagles are strong, beautiful birds who fly high. They fly high, so high that many birds can't fly as high as them. Yet there is a little bird called a crow that is a pest to the eagle. And the crow does not gain anything from hurting the eagle or pecking at them and bugging them. Crows do not eat eagles. Like I said, there is no benefit for them hurting them. But just like crows, people will hurt you and bug you because they just want to bring pain for no good reason. But we have to be like the eagle. The eagle flies high. They fly above the crow because they are going where the crow can't go. In other words, be the bigger person. Let that crow or that person go low, because they can never go where you are going. There is no reason to let the seed of hatred take root in your heart. And I love that message.
That's like really meaningful, like the analogy and everything. Yeah. And it's true. It's true. You're always gonna have people that just do it for no reason,
or just hate you because you're just standing there. It sucks, but just separate yourself from that person and just fly high, and that's the best thing that you can do. And whenever I tell my friends like this story that I heard of the eagle and the crow, now I call people like crows that that are like people that don't like me in my life, or something like, you a crow. Like I always say that. That's another like, I think soul thing, is that she doesn't like say bad words, and I'm trying my best not to, but it's very difficult. So instead of saying a bad word, I'm like, she a crow.
She a crow.
She a crow. There's a lot of crows in your life, but it's okay.
We need to post that.
Yeah,
we need to make that a thing.
Yeah.
I met a crow the other day, Marilyn.
Yeah.
What a crow.
What a crow, yeah. A crow. And the last piece of advice that soul has given me is work hard and everything in the end will fall into place. I feel like we work so hard in our lives, and it could be very daunting thinking, oh, I hope I make it. I hope I get my master's. I hope I do all these things. But it does bring some peace to mind hearing this from her, that everything will work out as long as you work hard and you do everything you need to do. You know, the master's program for me has been no joke. During the school semester, I am physically, mentally, and emotionally drained in that order. However, this piece of advice keeps me going. I have seen it in her life. She has done her master's and it has paid off. And I know that it will do the same in my life. And yeah, I don't know why I got emotional thinking that. I think it's so hard. It's so hard.
It is, you guys. When Marilyn's going through like
The
school,
semester.
I see her once a month. Like that is the most that we can squeeze in. That's okay because I understand how meaningful it is for her, but I see her and she's really going through it. And for anyone who's getting their master's, like I haven't been in those shoes, but just looking at Marilyn and like even other friends of mine, like it's tough.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and like, you know, so much respect for you guys, like doing it and getting it done, and just you know, it will pay off in the end.
It will, for sure. And I feel like school gets me emotional because it does take so much out of me just to do. I've never been like a school girly, even though everyone thinks I am because I'm getting my master's and I'm a straight A student, but it takes a lot out of me to do that. And that's why it's crazy that your mentor, Shane, was working, is or was, did she already graduate?
She just graduated.
Oh, okay, was, past tense. Was doing full time. Like, that's nuts to me. And of course, every program's so different, but still, like, I don't care. That's very hard. But continuing on, if you put your energy and hard work in anything you set your mind to, there's no way you can fail. Everything we experience is a lesson. And as I get older, I see that as well. And looking back at my education journey, I have obtained 3 associate degrees, my bachelor's, and I'm about to get my master's this December. And
she's doing it.
7 years. It's my 7th year in higher education. And as a little side note before I continue, maybe I might not get into it. I was going to talk about a doctorate. We'll talk about that another episode. But I sometimes look back at my education journey and I'm like, I wish I would have went full-time straight out of high school in community college and just got it done. But then I realized, no, Marilyn, you did everything exactly how it was supposed to happen. You know, one semester I took off, most of them it was part-time until the very end. I took like overtime class, like 7 classes I took at once. But like, I realized that everything happens for a reason, because if I would have, you know, went back in time and done it all over again and finished in the 2 years or whatever, I would not have met the amazing people in my cohort during my bachelor's time. I wouldn't have had the amazing professors that I have had. And so realizing that, I realized that everything fell into place exactly how it was supposed to. And in the end, you're right where you need to be. Even if it doesn't seem like it, it will all fall into place. So
I love that. Yeah, that's so true. I really love all of that advice. I think Soul gave you beautiful advice. And I know, like, this last part, you know, I think sometimes we think, maybe speaking on personal, you know, this is who I am. I'm always planning. I'm always ready for the next thing. Me too. And it's great and all, but sometimes you really step back and you relax and you realize, like, you know, if slow down, just because things didn't go according to your planner or what you thought, it's for a reason. And when you really reflect and you look back years later or months later, whether that be, you know, why you didn't get that job, and then months later you get another job, you'll see why that happened.
Right.
Meeting people, everything, you know, I love to reflect back and really think like, oh, I'm happy that it happened that way, because now I'm here and it gave me this.
Right. Even like the really painful stuff, it's all part of your story, your life story and who you are, essentially, because some things are really big and they change who you are and how you see life. Yeah.
The growth too.
The growth. Yeah. Growing pains.
Yes.
Gotta love them, but they're painful.
I know.
Yeah, but I agree with the planning as well, because I'm the same. Like, my planner is nuts. I love my planner. I love planning. I love to-do lists, but that's also like my downfall too, because I'm like, damn, I need to be more in the moment. I need to be like for instance, 4th of July, I had nothing planned, and I never do that. I always have something planned, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay home, and like whatever life has to offer, I'm just gonna like go with the flow, you know? And so I did that. I just was staying home. I was doing laundry and like cleaning my casita. And then my friend literally texted me and she was like, do you want to go on my boat today and like watch the fireworks?
I did see that. It was so pretty.
And her boat's name is Marilyn, which is my name. And it was, oh my God, it was the best 4th of July in my life. And it was unplanned. And so I'm just like, I really need to do this more often, where I just like see where life takes me. It was so fun being there with my cohort. It was 2 of my friends in the master's program. They just graduated though. And my city does like a fireworks show. And so we were like docked on the marina, and I'm looking at the beautiful fireworks, and like you can see the reflection on the, you know, the rippling water. And it was just really beautiful. And I loved it. And I'm not a 4th of July girl. I'm really not.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't really care. I don't really care about 4th of July. I hate what it does to the animals and the dogs, but it was a really nice time, and I loved it.
Yeah, just being present, right? And
Yeah.
just remembering that that advice that Marilyn shared with
Everything
us
will
from Soul.
fall into place.
Everything will fall into place.
Yeah.
And you'll see why soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, I'm so excited that we just recorded our first episode.
Yes.
I hope you guys really liked it, and be sure to once again follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, like Apple Podcasts, at Wish You Love Pod.
And if you haven't already, share this podcast, share our page with your friends, your neighbors, your family. I think Marilyn mentioned this before, if there's something that you can relate to, or you think someone can relate to, share that along, you know. We really just want to build that community, and we're excited to see where this podcast and community goes from here.
Yes. Thank you so much, you guys, for listening and staying tuned. And above all else,
we wish you love. Thanks, guys.
Bye.